Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic gameplay demo has been released. Sort of. The demo of the gameplay in VR was only available at PAX West a few days ago. Now obviously I'm Australian, so I don't get to play it. But several FNAF theorists had the privilege of not only playing the game, but being able to share their thoughts with us, including Dorco and John from FNAF. Probably the biggest takeaway is that we got an up-close and personal look at what we assume is the Mimic. This animatronic clown creature with the split down the middle of its mask, similar to what we see with the Funtime animatronics. And also there were Fredbear's posters strewn all about the place, so there is no doubt in my mind that this upcoming Five Nights at Freddy's game is taking place in Fredbear's. Now I'll run you through what John from FNAF gave with his experience. Most notably, he kept mentioning that there were a lot of different animatronics. There were dogs, there was an octopus man, there was the elephant suit that we see in Ruin. So through John's words, he said the game takes you through a hallway into a manager's office. There's generators, there's a lot of references to the puppet and the box. You wind up a box with puppet music and presumably the Mimic dressed as the clown comes out. There is a lot to unpack. I highly suggest you go watch his video. There was one thing that he mentioned that really caught my eye. He said that during the gameplay, you go through a hole into almost like a back room, and it's a warehouse of sorts. He even likened it to an abandoned factory with a ton of different animatronic creatures and clowns and animals. All of these crazy new characters that we've never seen before. And it got me thinking, we have seen a warehouse filled with animatronics before. I couldn't put my finger on what I was thinking about. Is it something in the books? Is it something in the Silver Eyes? Where is it? So I had to dig through my memories. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks. I went back and I looked at my playthrough of probably one of the now most lore-filled games in all of Five Nights at Freddy's, Fury's Rage. This game was a bit of a bonus minigame that came out just prior to the release of Security Breach, and a lot of people blew it off. It's not until now that we can actually make the connections and realize what this game was trying to tell us all along. The first level of Fury's Rage, it actually takes us to sort of streets and an alley outside of a pizza place. There's a lot of arcades. The boss in that level is the VR sisters. So the whole thing was, hey, this is Five Nights at Freddy's and we're taking it into the VR space. Following on from that, we've got something that is incredibly on the nose, a rundown sort of back road. Everything is destroyed, everything is old, and most importantly, there is so many circus elements. There is circus animatronics coming after you, there is a circus tent in the background, and there is a picture of a clown and circus paraphernalia all over the walls in this level. Then in the third level, we move on to something else that's very on the nose. The Pizzaplex. There's puppets and Night Mariones coming at you in this Security Breach level, and the boss is something called Mega Brow. Now this is like a giant version of BB, a little bit, but it's got a round red nose. And where have we seen this round red nose before? Not on Balloon Boy, because his is more triangular, on the Paper Pals. Now I'm sure you're already familiar with the theory that a lot of people have thrown out there about the Paper Pals. You have a rabbit, you have a bear, and you have a clown, which is presumably the Mimic with the round red nose. So these first three levels of Fury's Rage, they're already telling us what direction the games were going, about VR and AR games, about the whole integration into the AR network in the Pizzaplex, the Pizzaplex itself, and now all of the circus and clown themes. That is the next puzzle piece that's now falling into place from this game, Fury's Rage. So all of this is coming true up until the third level. So what's the fourth level? The fourth level of Fury's Rage, and I kid you not, is an animatronic factory. In the background, you can see torsos of animatronics actually on an assembly line. And having this factory in play, okay, you know, we can see where this is going with the new game Secret of the Mimic, but there is something else that we need to unpack about this. There is a character in a tank in this level. Now, it could be Baby, it could be Eleanor, but it is somebody with those pigtails, and they're sort of half built with one arm. The endo is exposed in the torso, and it looks like they are midway through production. Now, assuming that this is baby, there's something else that I think has gone unnoticed in the game Fury's Rage, and that is that no other character has the glowing yellow eyes except for the baby animatronics and Soul Brawler. Now, Soul Brawler can be reminiscent of Golden Freddy. It could just be there to be really on the nose and show, hey, yellow eyes means, possession or personality or whatever you want to call it. But the fact that the baby animatronics are the only ones with those same glowing yellow eyes, I think that's a design choice. And the boss for this level is Vanny, which seems out of place. You think you would put her in the security breach level, but having Vanessa, somebody who has been so likened to Elizabeth Afton, even to the degree of being almost a parallel in the film as the boss for this factory level, I think something's going on. So I've been rambling at you for a few minutes now, so I feel we need to unpack some things about everything I've just said. Number 1, Secret of the Mimic gameplay demo heavily features puppet music. The Mimic comes out of a box likened to the puppet, and all throughout Security Breach we see Night Marione plushes without the presence of the puppet. It's not a firm theory or a firm speculation, but a lot of theorists are jumping on board the bandwagon that there is a strong connection between the Mimic and the puppet, almost to the degree that the puppet may very well be an extension of the Mimic production line. That is, we see animatronics being trained through virtual reality and through this network, through the Mimic 1 program in Help Wanted 2. The speculation now is that the puppet is also part of that production line. The security puppet was trained using the same AI technology that the Mimic has. And the big significance of that for me is to say, if there are multiple Mimics and multiple animatronics using this same technology, then I think Elizabeth Afton may be a Mimic. Or at least maybe that's what this new game's going to tell us. You see, we're going so far back in the timeline, 1979, that we may actually see the first victim. Or if not the first victim, in my opinion, we may see the death of Elizabeth Afton. Because Circus Baby is already a character prior to the Sister Location game. That's heavily established, and a lot of people theorize that Sister Location takes place way earlier in the timeline. Now, if I'm reading the room correctly, using Fury's Rage, using the connections between Charlie and Elizabeth, and the story we have even in the Silver Eyes, and then looping that back in with the Secret of the Mimic, I actually have a strong speculation that this game will not only include Elizabeth Afton, but it will show us the connection between Elizabeth, Charlie, and the Mimic. So take that as you will. This is just a theory, this is just speculation given what we know. If you haven't seen me play the latest game Into the Pit, check it out over here.